What's up, MPTV episode 34, Road Trip Part 2. Doug, me, David, heading towards Seattle to go to the airport, but we do have to stop by and see my man Chris Wiley in Ballard, so the GPS me tells us to get off the expressway pretty soon. Last week, we covered episodes 1 through, 16? Through 16, we ended with Carla at Aladdin's. Today we're going to cover episodes 17 through 32. So we got 15 episodes to dig into. Let's get into it. Part 2 road trip. We talked to Matt Grimes in episode 17 of Colonial Cottage. And what I learned there was to not touch people's fish.
Oh, yeah.
Because he talked about when they bought this heritage brand. And I'm from the area. I grew up in Erlanger, Kentucky, where Colonial Cottage is. Amazing biscuits and gravy, awesome fried chicken. But he talked about when they bought it, they had a cheap fish, I don't know if it was a fish sandwich or fish.
I think it was a fish sandwich.
Fish sandwich. Yeah. And he wanted to go with a homemade breaded sandwich, and it didn't go too well.
People didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest takeaway for me. And the other thing that he talked about was how big it is for, like, he sponsors a lot of sports teams and local events, and he doesn't make money there, and it's a lot of his time, but it gets him out in the community in front of the people that are going to be patronizing his restaurant.
Yeah,
and it's a long-term, again, grassroots.
And I've seen that firsthand because he sponsors the Ryle High School athletic banquets each year, and I've actually had one of Cole's friends say, let's go to that restaurant that did our football banquet because they enjoyed the food so much. So get out in your community, it works. Next episode, we shot down south, and we went to Barry's Cheesesteaks. You were there.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was
from
good.
Philly, and ironically enough, he was from Norristown, which is like right down the road from me.
Because you're from Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. So it was pretty cool getting to know, because, not in Philly, for me, it's like, all right, how good could the cheesesteak be? It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think it was pretty cool seeing, again, how active he was in his community, and basically starting that because of where, he's big in the church, and seeing the neighborhoods that he's in and giving those kids opportunity and something to do, which is really cool.
Yep. And I liked his community involvement. He's a man of God and brings that into the business. And I think it showed a lot, and a lot of his decisions are rooted in the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Next was Mary, Enlightenment Coffee, actually down the street from my house. And for me, what I liked about that episode was how she was embracing social media. And it's kind of ironic. We walk in and she's got the what do you call that? Retractable selfie stick. I was called retractable, expandable.
It was a tripod.
Yeah,
right?
selfie stick, tripod with the button to pick the picture. But I liked how she was something that simple. I can't tell you restaurant owners, and I've said, hey, use this to get good quality pictures. Like, oh, what is that? Like, I love the fact that she was embracing it. She was doing it. She does it all the time.
And for me, I talk to a lot of restaurant owners as well, and it's always, oh, we don't have time to do that. For her, it was interesting because she works another job. That's a business on the side that she runs. So her finding time to get those pictures and take those pictures and post on social media, she's got a lot going on, and her finding time to do that because she knows in the long term it's going to be really powerful.
Yep. So next episode was the rewind. We don't need to rewind the rewind. You can check it out, but it had a lot of the highlight clips from the episodes from the guests themselves. Then we hit Bahama Bucks.
That was
an
impromptu episode.
Brian Picard from Fatty's was like, Matt, you've got to go to Bahama Bucks. We're looking for a unique dessert. We were in Moore, Oklahoma. He's like, down the street, there's this place called Bahama Bucks. He didn't know what it was as far as like if it was a franchise or locally owned because he'd only been to that one. Apparently it's a 100+ location franchise out of Texas. Absolutely amazing. What I loved was just the education standpoint that their employees go through, because she talked about how they have a whole system of their employees being trained. I think she go to like Bahama Bucks University.
Yeah.
And
she has a degree from Bahama Bucks University.
And you could tell because we went there, we were customers, and when we were customers, the experience we got was great, and that's what led us to tell them how awesome our experience was and why we were in town. They said, hey, we'd love to be an episode. Went by and it made sense. We had a conversation and loved it.
Yeah. for me, I think it was really cool to see like her passion, and she compared like her as the business owner, and her employees are typically younger, and how a lot of the kids that work for her have never had a job before. So she's really that first, for the kids that work for her, it's their first rodeo in any type of business, having a boss other than their parents. And for her, how she compared it to them being like her being their grandma was pretty unique. And it's pretty cool to see, that she cares about those kids, and the passion that she has for Bahama Bucks.
Next, I'm sure Doug's going to chime in on these next three, because these next 3 of 5 episodes in a row that featured fatties, because it was a very unique experience. We went to Moore, Oklahoma. We sat down with Brian Picard, and then we sat down with his wife Catherine, and then his brother Mark, and then we went on an awesome road trip. And it wasn't planned to do a podcast until we got in depth on conversations. So from those 5 episodes, let's talk about a couple of things that stick out to us. I loved Catherine's, how she brings a different look and feel to the restaurant from a standpoint of her eyes, because she's not a restaurant person. She's in the medical world. But she talked about how she gets in there and works in the kitchen, and she sees some things in the kitchen that aren't necessarily like, oh, what if we changed this flow? Like she made a comment, I don't know if it was on camera or off, but like this person was reaching down for this item, 100 times a day. What if we moved it? And just that little tweak, and that probably comes from her being in surgery rooms and hospitals and seeing how things are so efficient. And a lot of times in the restaurant business, entrepreneurs aren't the most efficient people. And so that's what really stuck out to me.
I think Catherine, it was pretty cool seeing her as, talking about leaving the business in the business. As far as, when they're at the restaurant together, that's when they talk about restaurant things. And when they're home, it's family time. And they may have the nights where they're at the kitchen table talking about, the restaurant or brainstorming ideas, but anything they disagree on, that stays at the restaurant, and they don't let that affect their personal lives, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the takeaways, and there's so many of them with them, but there's 3 people, they all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses, but how they work together with that. Brian is a data analyst for a Fortune 100 company. Yep. He's all into the numbers. Mark is a protein specialist. I forget the actual name, but he has a background and he understands everything about the meats and everything else. And then Catherine, working in the hospital, in the surgery room, seeing how they all bring their strengths together to just fine tune that little teeny thing. One little data point can make a difference. One little item on the protein can make a difference. And Catherine, just like you said, with a fraction of a second of doing something adds up. Yep. And it's just so unique how they take all of this, and little teeny things can make a big difference.
And I lied, I got a second one. What I really liked was Mark talking about how they do their Taco Tuesdays. Oh, yeah. And how they're always looking for efficiencies, and how they're looking to save money. Not necessarily save money, but they have their food costs go through the roof. He was talking about how we don't serve some of these ribs because of different reasons, maybe size or maybe the look of them. And we were looking for how can we use that rib meat. Well, I had never heard of a rib taco. And so they ended up using the rib meat for rib tacos, Taco Tuesday. So they took a negative, turned it into a positive, helped on their food cost, helped on a promotion, and gave people a different reason to stop by the restaurant. Because I love ribs. I would love rib Tuesday, rib tacos too. So one of the biggest things in the restaurant business I preach in marketing is you got to find a different reason to get somebody to come back. If I'm always going for the ribs, how can you get a secondary visit every other week? Or once a month, get me to come back a time I might not have come back? Rib Tuesday.
Yep. No, great idea.
Okay, break time. Restaurateurs, it's Matt. And if you're watching MPTV, you're obviously interested in improving your business. What if I told you could finally take the hope and pray out of your marketing plan and spend money and see results? You see, most marketing starts with the same exact tactic. You gain the attention of somebody, but that's where the majority of it stops. What we do with the ROI engine is help you gain amazing attention, which drives gigantic engagement. That engagement leads to customers to tell us who they are, meaning they opt into your email, text, and birthday program, and then we drive them to buy something. We've got a lot of great programs that can help you, and we'd love to have a conversation with you. If you're interested, it's easy. Check out roiexperts.net. You can schedule an appointment and we'll hop on a call with you. Worst case scenario, you learn how to market your restaurant like you've never heard of before. Back to the action. Okay, so down the street from Moore, Oklahoma, we hit our man Rolf at Eureka Pizza. There was a lot we got from there because Rolf's a high energy guy. He's got a heritage brand, but he's also got a diverse audience he's got to talk to because some of his locations are on campuses, near just traditional consumers and neighborhoods. What I liked, what he brought to the pizza business were two things. The drive-through was huge. I've never seen that. Like, I'm told some brands have drive-throughs. I've never seen a drive-through at a pizza place personally. But more than anything was something, out of like the book from Rapid Fire was the dipping sauces. Oh, yeah. Was the fact that a lot of pizza you just get pizza. He's turned it into pizza and dipping sauce, and you get somebody that might like 2 or 3, and that's a little upcharge that you can help with. And right now, we've actually got a post running on his page asking customers for their favorite combinations. And as we talk about getting engagement, they're dropping a lot of combinations in there, what they love, and that gives you some intel, but it also shows you how on point he is.
Yeah, I think even talking about that and the dipping sauces there, the engagement, we looked at that while we were working out on a walk just minutes or hours after it was posted, and the amount of comments that it already had was kind of cool. The other thing that I really liked is he is just how he runs the business on the back end. He has his office, but he has his team calls and he's always talking to his team. We sat in on one of those, which is really cool, and it was high energy. His team members it sounded like they loved being there and talking on that phone call, and you can tell that's work that he put in over the years building that morale.
Yeah, and I pulled up the post just looking at this, like, any pizza and ranch, there's no other acceptable. Wait, what is boom boom sauce? I need that. Pepperoni with garlic butter, the at least 5 cheese pesto dipped in garlic butter and hot sauce, sausage and onion with ranch. He's on the same level with his customers, but from a restaurant standpoint, the pizza business is hard. People are price shopping. Yep. But when nobody else has that sauce, that dipping sauce, that's where you're going to go. And all of a sudden it takes maybe a pizza that might normally be 10 or 12 that somebody says, hey, give me 2 or 3 sauces because I want one, my kid wants one, my wife. Now you just got $3 more for probably, 10, 20 cents in sauce?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and the other thing for me that jumped out about Rolf was not afraid to adjust the product, where it's not, well, this is the way I've always done it. A little tweak here, a little tweak there, a little bit more sauce, maybe a little different cheese, things to just kind of evolve to where it's what's going to be better overall for the customer. Mm-hmm. It may cut a little bit into a margin or two, but it's a better quality, not just, stay with what's always worked.
Yeah. And so then we went to another part of the country. We went up to Minnesota, where we hit 3 restaurants, which are the next 3 episodes. And we hit Basileo's with Tom and Connie, 2 years in the pizza business. And what stuck out to me was the touches Connie put inside that restaurant. Because I think a lot of people attempt to remodel a restaurant, and there's the inclination to kind of cut corners, and you can see where they painted sloppy, they caulked sloppy, the walls, the drywall's okay. They went over the top, but it wasn't gaudy. It was really homey. And the mural of them, it had a mural of Italy, which was painted kind of like 3D-ish by a professional artist. Had Connie and Tom in it. That was funny, the little pictures. But I love the touch. When I went in there, I felt like I was somewhere I needed to be.
Yeah, it was really cool. I also liked how they incorporated the history of the business and how passionate they were about finding out, the story behind the business. Because I think they were like the second or third owners of it. So them going back and asking people who have been customers for forever about where the restaurant came from and why they did things certain ways, because they wanted to preserve that and keep that. And now I think that second owner that was in there before them changed some things and people didn't like it. And now that, they're the new owners, they're changing things back to the way that they were, and they're getting that whole customer base back. which is really cool.
And learning too, I would have never thought Basilleo's. I thought it was a last name.
Basil
and Leo.
Yeah.
That's what it stands for. Basil and Leo were the founders, but I lied. I got another one there. So back during when the pandemic started hitting, and everybody was doing third party, and you had to have a little different touch. I put a video. They're a client of ours.
Oh yeah.
Shameless plug, restaurantmarketingthatworks.com. They work with us on. They're one of our clients for the agency. That's what we do. We help restaurants find clients. But I had a tip in our owners group. I said, hey guys and gals, do something different. And I had a video I did about what if you went to the store and got 100 Payday candy bars, you put a Payday in the bag, and people open it up and there's a Payday, and it's like, hey, a note, we appreciate your business. And we did a video on that, right? We did a video on what she did.
Yeah. It's already been posted.
Oh, okay. It's already been posted. So we've got a video where she actually took that. They made some of their dessert pizzas. They chopped them up into smaller pieces, put them in little containers, and then Connie and her one manager wrote handwritten notes on top of the container. We appreciate your business during these tough times. Thank you for all you do for us. And the people not only got a free item, they not only were surprised, but they also got to taste something that they probably hadn't bought before, the dessert pizzas. And then she said it led to increased dessert sales. So next stop was Tasty Pizza Todd. And I always wondered when I saw the brand, because it's got Tasty Pizza, then he's got the one side of it he calls Hangar 45. But I loved how he tied in the World War II. That's what the
bathroom.
Yeah, the 45. The bathroom had it. The autographed pictures of all the World War II pilots around the place. I just love the historical and the tie, how he brought his passion into the business. And I'll tell you this, going back to how Basilleo has put that touch in their restaurant, when it's his passion outside of the business, he took extra care of it in the restaurant.
Yep.
And it shows. And people see that, because when they walk in other restaurants, they wonder, well, why is that out of place? Why is that out of place? It's not like that at Tasty. So I think that's an important factor.
Yeah, I think that's really what stood out to me. I think it was a cool atmosphere. Yeah, I mean, I like the theme, and I think the bathroom was pretty cool. It was a mural, so I think while you're actually on the toilet, it looked like you're in the cockpit of the fighter jet. It was pretty cool.
and it's comical because our next two are going to have a similar theme as the last two, but Sammy's Pizza, we met with Joe. It's a heritage brand. His grandfather was Sammy, started the brand up in the Minnesota area, and their menu, like for me, a lot of pizza places, because I know Sammy's is a pizza place, but when I got there and saw the depth of the menu,
their menu was massive.
To me, there was two things that stood out. Number one, if we could put footage of the really cool Sammy sign on the wall. It was from the original Sammy's. They found it, got lucky from a landlord that found it behind 10 signs, but it looks really cool. It adds a cool element to the restaurant. But on top of that was the menu, how a lot of times when I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids, you've got a wife and kids, you're young, 20, and you got parents and siblings, you got to find some place that gives something for everybody. And sometimes I might go to a pizza place and I might want a hoagie, my kids might want chicken wings, my wife want my pizza, my daughter might want a salad, whatever. There's something for everybody, and that's what really got my attention with the menu.
Yeah, I think it was cool how he kept all his family. There's multiple of Sammy's pizzas, and they're all family members.
Yep.
And I think that was really cool, just to see how they kept the recipe. And I think there's only one family member that knows the pizza dough recipe.
That's what he said.
And I think, was it his dad that still does it? I think it's his.
I think his dad said he has a commissary that does something with the dough, I think.
Yeah, but that pushes it out to all the restaurants, and they're the only ones, or he's the only one that knows the recipe to the dough. So they keep it tight and close to their hearts.
Restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
And last but not least, we're at our destination, and we're on the final episode that we just finished that you would have watched 2 weeks ago, is Chai of Coconut Kenny's. We came out here to Washington just to see them, and what I had to find out, number one, I was blown away by the interior, because I've actually got a tiki look and the thatch roofing by my pool, but their interior was legit. Like, as my boy Luis would say, certified legit. I felt like I was in Hawaii. That's a place I want to go eat, because it takes my mind somewhere a little different, especially in this day and age. But more than anything, and I told you this, Doug, again, they're a client of ours, and we do, heck, they think they've done like 400 grand in sales in a year in our program. And one of the biggest mysteries in there to me was, how are they selling so many sandwiches? You're a pizza place. I love pizza. You love pizza. I think you like pizza.
I like pizza.
Do any of you get sandwiches at your favorite pizza shop?
Not really.
Not really. Well, when we went there, I said, Chai, I gotta have the pizza. I gotta have a sandwich. I gotta know what you got going here. Lee, I gotta try a sandwich. And we got a variety of them. And I found out why. Man, that bread was unbelievable. And so we talked about Sammy's having a wide menu, but like also maybe something like with Coconut Kenny's, something that you do unbelievably well. Because everybody that we asked in the area, when we told them we were in town to see Coconut Kenny's, they all were like, oh my gosh, the Detroit style pizza crust, the sandwiches, everybody loved them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the bread was so unique that is a signature item without it really being a signature item. They're not out there promoting. You don't walk into restaurants, you don't see the ads like, check out our bread. It's just once you have it, that first bite literally is, I've never had this before. It was so good, you can't even really describe it. You need to taste it to kind of get the gist of it.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed that was pretty cool, tying into the sandwiches and the pizza, is as you look at their menu, you kind of see that a few of their pizzas are also in sandwich forms.
Yeah.
So I think that was cool because, if you don't want the pizza, you want it in a sandwich or however you want it, you can get it both ways. I think that was really cool.
He said that. He said the one sandwich was always a sandwich, and somebody said,
why don't you try it on
you
a
ought to
pizza?
have us on a pizza. And him and his brother made it, and they're like, this is pretty good.
It's pretty good. And that's just listening to their customers.
Yeah.
Well,
cool. Well, that's all we got. This is Road Trip Part 2, Part Deuce. We are heading to the Seattle airport. I hope you enjoyed it. Future episodes, if you're a restaurant owner or operator that wants to be involved, if we can get to your part of the country, we fly somewhere every month, we drive within our region. We'd love to have a conversation if you have a story to tell, something that you know will help other restaurant owners and operators take their game to the next level. That's all I've got for this episode of MPTV. Is that all you guys got?
that's all I got.
We're out. See ya.